Happy Friday, everybody. Time for another update. Make lots of sounds. Anyway, I assume I'm good. John, am I good?
Sound and video good.
Awesome. Okay, so look, got to start with some bad news. We've had a lot of great weeks in a row. This wasn't one of them. Now, it doesn't mean a lot didn't get done. A ton of stuff got done. We have a nice long top 20-ish almost, 17, I think. 18. Now I got 17 here. Did you miss a sheet?
You only have 2 sheets?
I only got 2 sheets.
Weird.
I'm only 2 sheets to the wind. Now I'm 3 sheets to the wind. No. The reason it wasn't a good week, and I talked about this last week, we were integrating updating Visual Studio 2019. There were issues. And so we do not have a stable build for a test. We have an old build, but, not that old, but still older. So we couldn't get a good build running before last night. So no test this weekend. I'm really sorry. The integration was painful. And so hopefully we'll be recovered enough next week. Plus, because so many new things have gone in the last few weeks, we did see a little performance regression, and I want to knock that out. Well, not me, because if I touch the code, it will really regress. But I want us to knock that out before we have the next test. But when you have the next test, there's just a few things you folks are going to see in it. So let's get started. Also, I want this, I'll do a short Q&A after this, because I've got some things I want to get done, or need to get done before the end of the day. Number 1, tech, BPOEs. Like BPOES. So what is a BPOES? It's a new word that Matt made up, a new acronym. It is building placed objects as entities. And what in heaven's name does that mean? What it means is you folks can now put down things that can be fully interacted with, can be damaged, can be driven. Driven? You said driven? Yeah, he did. He's driving. Yes, you can actually...
Can get you Cthulhu?
Oh yeah, sure, that works. It actually means you can drive around objects, which is number 4 on this list. So yeah, that's a kind of big deal. Placing objects in the game was one thing. Placing objects that you can now fully interact with, well, that's another. So that's looking really good. And you notice I didn't say work in progress. It's in. Number 2, another tech item. Also not a work in progress. Nav meshes. Man, you guys and gals have heard me talk about nav meshes forever. But this week, Lee was able to pull all the disparate, such a big word, pieces of his work together to make a working nav mesh. So what does that mean? It means that now we can get the NPCs to, thank the Lord, be dumber than rocks. Yeah, I mean smarter than rocks, because they have been as dumb as rocks. So you're going to actually see smarter NPCs, which is kind of a necessary thing for this game, even though it isn't an NPC-focused game. We do need guards. We do need other things that just don't walk into walls and keep walking into walls. Number 3, tech. Hey, 3 in a row, not work in progress. VFX. Wiley wrote and tested the data migration code for the particle orientation system. So what does this all mean? It means so we can actually do the right thing, have particles act the way they need to act in the game. So, Mike Crossmeyer now has given Wiley back his dog, cat, and niece, I think, as well. Number 4, work in progress. Okay, sorry, we had to have a work in progress. Tech, moving siege items. Engines. Goddamn. Engines. And this is a pretty cold read, as you can tell. I literally got this a few minutes before I sat down. So what does this mean? So this is really cool. As of now, I think it's 6. Yeah. So battering rams. You can have up to 6 players control the battering rams and move them around. So, yay. And whether this ends up in a demolition derby of battering rams, because I think that would just be fun. And it might, again, just for a scenario. But why is it important? Obviously, you folks who have played other games know having battering rams, having other things you can control and really control is kind of a big deal. And this isn't obviously just battering rams. Anything else, can be moved in the same way. So whether it is trebuchets eventually, whether it's siege towers, whether it's other things, it's up to you to control it, not us. So licenses will be available for $25 from the gift store. Number 5, work in progress, tech art, new siege engines. So, just as the last thing said, we're going to have new siege engines. The last item, as well as me over the last few weeks. So we got the corpse chuckers and the smoke mortars. So and this is a well-written example. We can't wait to see a bloated cow carcass fly through a cloud of smoke and go splat on some poor soul. Aren't we terrible? But that's going to be so much fun. Number 6, work in progress, design, balance pass. It actually starts with the right phrase or the right sentence. Should be in caps, in bold, twice the font size. Once again, this is not meant to be a final balance pass or anything close. So, a lot of people have been telling us, not that we were surprised at this, that the game wasn't balanced with the first release of abilities. We've been saying forever that it wasn't supposed to. So now Benz actually has the time to start balancing things. He's been getting a lot of tech support as well to make his life easier so that he can balance all the components that make up all the abilities that you folks have. So, it hasn't been a priority for us until now, but now it's starting to be a priority. So, hey, balanced incoming. Or at least first pass balance incoming. Number 7, tech internal tools. Hey, guess what? To help Ben speed his balancing work, Christina has improved the tool Ben uses for class balance. So, number 8, tech UI. Christina fixed a fairly important bug that prevented a character's defensive stats from updating unless the player made an update to their equipment. Obviously kind of important for battles that all of your stats update properly. Number 9, art, mage armor. Tyler and Joe finished the mage outfit LODs this week, which have now been added to the game. So, what are you going to see from it? You're probably going to see some bugs, because when you start messing around with LODs, something always goes wrong. But you also see even better performance with lots of them on the screen. Unless, of course, you're standing in a circle of, what did I have the last time? 14,000? Something like that. Yeah, then it won't help much. Number 10, UI icons. With all the new assets going in, we had to call on our master icon maker, James Koo. And he made new icons for the new mage armor, smoke mortars, and corpse chuckers. I just love that word, corpse chuckers. Number 11, UI nameplates. Oh, this is going to make a lot of you happy. James has also finished the redesign of character nameplates and floating combat text. AJ then used the redesign to make some tweaks to these UI elements. Everyone rejoice! Yes, because I know that there was a whole bunch of people, both here and within the game who were asking us to fix the nameplates. Again, wasn't a high priority item, but hey, we're getting that done. Number 12, tech ability prediction. Yeah, this is a kind of big thing. Rob landed his work on ability prediction, allowing accurate numbers to be produced for abilities that are sent to the client. That's just something, because these abilities are kind of complicated, because you're actually building them yourselves, we have to make sure that the data is properly sent. So, hey, now it is. At least it should be. Number 13, another work in progress. UI, ultra high definition. So AJ spent some time this week upgrading the inventory, paper doll, and character stats UI to make them look good on UHD, ultra high definition. monitor displays. So, yeah, once again, hey, quality of life game thing. So many of these things. Number 14, Siege Engines battering rams. So Dion, Tyler, and John played Divide and Conquer this week to create the three realm themed battering rams. The initial modeling pass is complete on the TDD and the Arthurian versions, and Joe is now rigging them, and Tyler just needs to finish up the Viking version, which he's currently enjoying attaching lots of pokey spears to. So I guess he's doing a Pokemon kind of battering ram? Sorry. Dad joke. Mock pun, whatever you want to call it. Hey, Christina, if you're listening, and this is in regard to the email you sent, when is a shed not a shed? When it's a watershed. Hey, that's my bad pun.
Boy.
Batman, Riddler. I mean, come on. Riddle me this.
I think I just took 1d4 damage.
Awesome. Mission accomplished. Number 15, a work in progress. Art, animation, one-handed weapon combinations. Scott is working through a long list of weapon permutations, allowing mages to cast with their right hand while holding a shield, sword, dagger, or torch in the left hand. So, yay. Once again, more game things. Number 16, work in progress. Art, animation, bows. Sandra is back to long and short bows to finish up their attacks with the updated rig. Previously, she completed the one-handed mace axe animations for humans and Lucapan. Number 17, work in progress. Art, doors. We created several cool concepts this week on the first door, which we'll be testing in-game. This will be a massive double-door asset, which will be integrated into the Cherry Keep for testing next week. Visual Studio 2019 permitting. Okay, the last item, work in progress, FX. So, my continued work this week mainly focused on VFX for all the component players used when making abilities, specifically heavy fighters and archer abilities. Additionally, he's working on new Siege Engine VFX and unreadying VFX. DB also, when not working on general ability VFX, is working on the new building destruction SFX, getting buildings to play the correct sounds when hit based on material types. So yeah, that's a list of an awful lot of working in-game gameplay things. And as I promised you all, less and less pure tech things. Again, sorry about the test this weekend. We'll make it up. We'll definitely make it up to you guys. Maybe have a 2 test over the weekend or a longer test. We'll see. But yeah, upgrading was just a bit more of a headache than expected. So that's it. Question time. Let's go.
Give us your questions. Right. Stargazer. Is there any information when additional payment options will be available?
Probably as soon as we can find some free time for JB or find another engineer to join us who can work on that. Look, I've said this before, I certainly want additional money to come in. That's never a bad thing. But we're not going to do things to go out and to go out and make an extra effort to get it, because frankly right now we have a game to make. And so as much as I'd like to put JB or somebody else on finishing it off so we can get Stripe in there, we just, everyone is just too busy. And Lord knows I'm not going to, jump in and work on the code for that. So it's nothing but time. Nothing else. There's no technical challenges other than we've got to finish off the work on getting it integrated, which I believe is about a 2-week task. So I just don't want to take anybody off what they're doing to make sure that they can get that done. If it was a one-button integration, that'd be great. But it isn't. None of them are for what we need, for the information we need to get from the transaction. And yes, and what we do with it once we get it. Sorry.
IOG asks, how much art and coding will have to be done before we'll see support classes in testing?
Well, coding's already being done. Well, it's all being done for support classes, so hopefully it won't be much longer. It's support class is kind of important, and we've talked about that. That's why we're working on them now. So hopefully you'll see them soon.
Adric Cortesia asks, hi MJ. I've read Ben's article about balance in the last newsletter, but still have some questions. What do you think? How long will you try to balance the game before launch, and can this even be quantified in days or weeks?
That's a really good question. We're going to be balancing it. If past experience is a good indicator, which it usually is, we'll be balancing it up to the last minute. I mean, this is the sort of thing that you really can't quantify. You can't, not in a game like this. And not a game like this because we're making an MMO. No, that's difficult enough. I had to make it more difficult with the ability system. And so, yeah, that's something we're going to be balancing for friggin' ever. It really is. The good news there, and there is some good news in what seems like a kind of black cloud of difficulty, is that we really do care about it, and it is something that we're devoting a lot of technical energy towards, trying to get Ben all the tools he needs. So we're doing what we need to do right now to balance things out, and we're going to continue to do it. It's one of the most important things for this game. Not that it's balanced, because I've said, God, forever, that no MMOs, especially this kind of an MMO, where you have PvP, where you have RVR, because they are different, as well as some PvE, not PvE leveling. It's just a pain in the ass. So it's something we're going to keep doing. It's something we're going to devote time and energy to. I'm constantly saying to Ben, as well as to the engineers, that we have to make sure that it's really as easy as possible for Ben to balance and test things, not only before we launch but afterwards. So, we've all worked on MMOs before. We know what tools have been available. We know ways to do things, and we'll try to come up with ways to make it even easier for Ben, and I to look at things and go, yeah, this is kind of messed up, and we need to fix it, and fix it quickly.
Evilago asks, in the lore, the three factions are focused on discovering and settling new islands. Are these islands separated by seas or by other things, e.g. fields of lava or permanent veilstorms?
Nice. Don't know your name. I don't know. Is this your first question? Just out of curiosity. No, that's a great question. No one's actually ever asked me that before. So generally, it's water. And why I say generally is because I haven't actually thought about whether for at launch we want anything else, whether it's lava, or even underwater mountains that separate, the islands. But so for now, water.
Evilago says, I've been following the game for a while, but only been on the streams recently.
Well, welcome.
Swipper asks, can you talk a little about how progression will work? Meaning, will spells get stronger or will they morph?
Sure. So first, to understand, obviously, the concept of the spell system or the ability system. You'll be getting a lot of components. With these components, of course, you build up your ability. You'll be getting different components. You'll have infusions, other things to add in. The idea being that you can create a lot of different abilities from that. As you get better at the abilities or using the components, the cost to use them will go down. Some will get more powerful, or you will get access to more powerful ones. The casting time, in theory, could go down. Cooldowns could go down. Damage, duration can go up. Because we're using a component system like this, one of the advantages is it does make it really easy if we want to have a progression system where there are a lot of options to progress someone's ability other than the standard ones. So, like everything else in Unchained, or almost everything else, I would think, there are always exceptions, it is usage-based. So the more you use an ability, the more you use certain components, the better you get with them. But this has all got to be seen, again, within the framework of a horizontal progression system, where you could never get too powerful, so that, if a new player comes in, you could kill them with like one, mighty breath. So progression is really meant to be something that you look forward to getting, but is not crucial to the playing experience. That's really what's at the heart of horizontal progression. When you're playing in most PvP games, you always want to have the abilities to crush your opponents and crush them very quickly. Well, that works for a population that is, consistent, meaning, if you're playing with the server, if you're playing on the opening of a server and you're leveling with the other people, you're getting more powerful and they may get more powerful, or you, because you're playing all the time, just keep getting more powerful than anyone else. And it works great for a while. The problem is then what happens when a lot of new players come in. So, no one really wants to be fodder for all the time it takes to level. So while progression is important and the idea of scaling up damage and other things does happen, it is not as crucial to it as you would see in just about every other MMO. So hopefully that answered the question.
Thebe asks, what's that necklace you were wearing and will it be in the game?
This one? Probably. Oh, this is from the Lady J. Don't remember how many years ago I got it. It's been a while. It just says, what's the, I'm going to mispronounce it. Bear shirt? Hebrew. Bear.
Well, what is it?
You are my, God, now I don't remember the English translation. Your other, the other half.
Be'ahava?
Maybe, but that seems off. But that's what it is. So, from AJ to me. I think it's best shirt. Something along those lines. But anyway.
Beshert means meant to be.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Okay. Beshert, that would make sense.
There we go. That's it. Thanks,
right.
Max.
Sure thing. Pachamos asks, are you starting to get those jitters as you near the potential release of CU, that anxious excitement?
No. So, this is God, obviously third, fourth MMO if you want to count Imperator. Those kind of jitters I only get when, one, right before launch, obviously, but also as we try to solve the technical things we've been solving over, forever, it seems. And that's when you get kind of nervous every time, you think you've run into a brick wall. And fortunately, as you folks have seen, while we certainly have run into some brick walls, we've kept on going. Sort of like, the toddlers who just keep bumping their heads into the wall, hoping that it will break. And so in our cases, we've broken through them. And as you've seen from our last, stress tests, boy, the Cherry Keep certainly, gets hammered, and then the walls tumble. So, that may be a little bit too on point, but it is an actually correct analogy. We have been bumping up against a lot of serious issues, as we knew we would, but we've knocked them out. It is comforting, actually, to see that. So, hopefully I won't be getting many more jitters. until right before launch, and then certainly on launch day, no matter how well you've tested, I am sure we're going to have a lot of nervous kittens around this place.
Sivius asks, oh, are we at the 5-minute warning point here?
We can go a few more minutes.
All right. Sivius asks, will we be able to have battering ram derbies in old maps, such as the first Keep map or possibly the Smackhammer one?
I think we should. I think it would be fun, right? I see absolutely no technical reason why we shouldn't do it. So why not? It's not like, and just so we're clear, it's not that we actually are thinking about doing a non-Rocket League, version of with battering rams, but it just might be fun for you folks to run around in a scenario with a bunch of the siege weapons and make a mini demolition derby out of it. We'll give them to you and you guys and a space, and you guys can go to town on it. It really depends if the control scheme and their, really if the control scheme works the way it needs to, which it should. I don't have any doubt, actually. And if they're fun to drive. And, that's one of the things about if we do run a scenario like that, we'll have a lot of data after that from you folks about, how much of a pain in the ass is it to drive around the Rams or to drive around the Trebuchets or push around them. So we may do it. I think it'd be fun as heck. So we'll just have to see.
Guinness CU asks, when will the Corpse Chucker merchandise be made available from Town State Leisure?
Yeah, we should, right? Because that just goes beautifully with one of the pillows. Hopefully soon. If not certainly the swag. Certainly seeing them in game and tossing them should be a lot of fun.
Bumble asks, will high mass races like Giants be more effective at pushing siege engines than races with lower mass?
It should be.
Bobo Deok asks, hey MJ, long time no see. Regarding scouts, will they have the possibility to rely on spirit pets to make some recon, or will they only be able to recon themselves?
Hey, Bobo. Yeah, it has been a long time. So, scouts. When you look at what a scout can do, when you look at what we can do with the spirit pets, what we've said so far, and obviously since we haven't worked with them yet, they aren't a launch class. We haven't spent a lot of time thinking about everything we could do with them. But would I like scouts to be able, and I'm trying to think back to exactly what I said regarding them during the Kickstarter, would I like to have scouts who can use the veil to go through, buildings? Yes. Would I like scouts to be able to do things in terms of sabotage? Yes. Would I like scouts to, generally be a real pain in the ass, as well as useful map makers? Yes. What would be the role of any spirit pet or anything else for them? That really is going to depend on whether we think we can do anything interesting enough with spirit pets and scouts to make them useful to use together. The whole spirit pet idea, if since you weren't here earlier, I don't mean earlier today, I mean earlier in the Kickstarter, was that two things really. One, by using spirit pets, we reduced the number of polys we could have on screen if a lot of people had pets. Also, because as you probably remember from if you played Warhammer or a lot of other games that use pets, pathing tends to be a bit of an issue. So by having spirit pets, the idea was, well, they can just go through things as opposed to have to route around complicated creations. So if we ended up with a system where we felt that we'd be better off if scouts actually could use spirit pets to do some of their reconnaissance or other tasks, then of course we would do that. But that's, we haven't spent any time thinking about that, since launch, other than, just the concept of spirit pets, in general, and how we can, have them ready to go for the game. Now, one of the good things is, as you've seen, or you haven't seen yet, since you just joined us, from in terms of performance, we are doing pretty well in that regard. So we might actually, this is nothing we've discussed, so no one should get excited about this, but we could possibly use real pets if we like what was going on with with great, I just blanked on what pathing. There we go. I was starting with P and going oh Jesus Christ, with pathing for the pets. There we go. Perfect.
Now say it 5 times fast.
Pathing for the pets, pathing for the pets, pathing for the pets, pathing for the pets, pathing for the pets.
You got it.
There we go. Anyway, because that would be cool too if we could have a combination of physical pets as well as spirit pets. But no promises on that. We haven't discussed it. It's just one of those things that obviously, because we're late and cards have gotten more powerful, CPUs have gotten more powerful, we can think about that, whereas we really couldn't think about it 6 years ago. Now, that still doesn't solve the problem with accurate and really useful pathing, but as we and others will then be working on nav meshes and navigating through the complicated world that I'm sure you folks are going to build, we can always look at it and go, yeah, is this doable? The problem is you folks do know, you combine both a player-built world and players who can be very devious / clever / oh my god, well, that was a brilliant idea, to confuse the pets, and pathing could make it so that no matter how smart we think the navigation is, it just doesn't work well enough for that kind of game. So we'll see. Good to see you.
Adric Cortesia asks, you told us that implementing new races is easy. What if new races are anatomically special, like Lucropons?
Obviously, sorry, go ahead.
That'll take more time, won't it? Will we just get more humanoid races?
Well, you won't get just more humanoid races. So humanoids obviously are easier than non-humanoid races, especially when they have something, that's quite different about their anatomy. So, would we like to do both? Absolutely. Could we get more humanoid races? Absolutely. I mean, again, humanoid races are so much easier than non-humanoid. And again, since we've said right from the beginning that we're not big fans of lots and lots of racial armors, we don't have to worry about the thing that holds up production of, other MMOs.
Lotaween asks, after watching the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of Operation Overlord and reflecting on the amazing sacrifices of the Allied forces yesterday, my thoughts inevitably wandered to see you, and I wondered, will there be a scenario where we will be able to test the ability to land on a beach and overrun a defending force who is dug in around the landing zone? And if it is going to be static realms like Cherry Keep, can it please be Vikings assaulting an Arthurian island?
Yes, and yeah, Operation Overlord and the amazing sacrifices and obviously deaths on all sides. It was, what was the movie, The Longest Day? It was, a terrible day. Wonderful, amazing, and terrible all at the same time. So for this kind of game, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see that. One of the nice things, of course, about the engine is that the kind of landing and the kind of scenario we can run like that, we can throw an awful lot of people and NPCs at it to make it really interesting for you folks. So I would be shocked if we don't have something like that as a scenario, and then in the real game, it's up to you folks, to build out some of those defenses to make it harder if we allow people, and it is an if, to have that kind of control over boats and transports, as opposed to the more, autonomous ones that we will absolutely have.
Paladin Brewer asks, "Hey MJ, love you long time. Do you have any genuine concern or fear that a game that focuses on PvP so much, with PvE and lore being in the background, may become stagnant and redundant after the first year or so? What kind of lifespan do you predict for CU?"
Well, those are two really different questions. So, in terms of, can it become stale? Absolutely. It's part of our job to add new content, to add new areas, add new islands. If I remember correctly, we talked as well during the Kickstarter about rotating islands in and out. So, I think that is something we have to do if we want to keep it fresh. And if we don't, then it will be like any other MMO that wasn't kept fresh. In terms of what's the lifespan, who knows? And I'm not saying that to be evasive. It really is a who knows. You have Dark Age that's now running, 18 years. You have EverQuest that's running even longer. Ultima running longer than both of them. At 22 years. I think Meridian might still be up for even a longer lifespan. So, who knows? If we do a really good job, then it'll have a really long lifespan. If we don't, then it won't. It really is as simple as that. The good news is, and this is good news, that not only because of the delay has tech gotten better, but it's going to get even better. And since this is a game, and we're a studio that's been pushing the tech as opposed to pushing the content, that is something that we can really take advantage of. So, for most games, let's take WoW for example. So, especially since they're bringing Classic back, which is EA. The difference between playing WoW technically at 2004 versus 2007 isn't great, or 2008 or 9, just pick any number. Because even though cards have improved, the cards' effect on performance, or the CPU's effect on performance, and what it meant to Blizzard isn't as great as what it would mean to us as we push, the envelope for sieges, as we talk about something like a landing and an Operation Overlord. So I do think we have a real chance to have a very long-lived game, and technology improvements that could absolutely be a major part of that, because we will happily take advantage. As I tell the people that I discuss our engine with, our engine is the most parasitic engine on the planet. We will take every core, every thread that we can get our hands on, and this is true on the client and on the server as well. And so as we get more cores, as we get more threads, as we get faster CPUs and GPUs, I expect we'll try to find ways to really take advantage of this. We've always talked about this game in relation to its importance to technology. And I can't imagine that, a scenario other than the game failing because we did a shitty job. I can't imagine of us not taking advantage of ongoing improvements to technology and give it back to you guys in the form of new stuff to do, and not just, hey, I got another 15% to the frame rate. Okay, let's do 5-minute warning.
All right, 5-minute warning, folks. 5-minute warning. Swipper asks, what was your most favorite class you designed and or played in any MMORPG? Will there be a class like it in CU?
Wow, geez, God. Great question. One of my favorites certainly was the original Hunter in WoW. I had a lot of fun playing a Hunter. I had a lot of fun doing the whole pet collection thing. trying to, get the best one. So I had a lot of fun playing a hunter, and as always, I exclude my own games because, that's kind of cheating. But yeah, I would say out of all the other MMOs I played, I probably enjoyed the hunter, more than any of the other the WoW's hunter, excuse me, more than any other classes I played, and a lot of it was absolutely going around and looking for pets with better stats. So, good question.
Smite Shadow asks, since skills and modules will get better with use, this raises a concern of mine that I've personally seen regarding guilds on opposing sides cooperating to create murder walls, where people can just sit there attacking people with abilities to level them. Will that be an issue, and how will situations like that be handled?
Great question. So, yeah, we've talked about that in the past, not using the phrase murder walls, but the idea that you could simply sit around and keep using an ability forever, whether it's against a target dummy or even in a scenario where people have set up a place for cheating. So, as our system is really dependent on those 24-hour updates that we have talked about also since the beginning, your ability to do that is going to be capped, per day. What will that cap be? We have no idea yet, but it will be capped. And the reason we don't have any idea yet because it depends on how many different components we get in, what we can, and which ones need to be capped. So we're not even worrying about that yet. So that's the first way that, you might say that, okay, you've now made as much progression as you can with this component during a 24-hour cycle. Doesn't mean you can't use it, you just won't get any more advancement in it. Second, if we see somebody doing that, that's cheating. That's against the spirit of the game. And as you folks know who play Dark Age of Camelot, Warhammer, or any other of the games, I'm kind of big on the whole spirit of the game thing. So if we saw guilds doing that, enjoy your ban. It's the same thing as keep trading, as far as I'm concerned. You really shouldn't be doing that. It is against the spirit of the game. So I think those two things will solve the problem, especially the first one. Now, that does bring up, because you might have a follow-up, but hey, MJ, that may work, but won't that mean people won't play the game when they've capped out using a certain component and they'll only come back the next day? Well, we hope not. But if that's one of the ways, if we see people cheating, that we could do it, sure, we'd do it. But keep in mind that, and again, this is one of the reasons we're doing the things we're doing with progression, is so we want people to play this game because it's fun. We want people to play this game so they can get stuff. The stuff doesn't have to be the same stuff you get in other games. It doesn't have to be, oh, I've done this, so now I've got an X amount of experience points, so now my health is going to go up, this stat will go up, and I'll get, some new abilities. We're doing things differently. So, hopefully that'll work. It was certainly part of the reason why I wanted to do things this way, because whether you call them murder walls, keep trading, or other ways of just cheating, not a big fan. Not a big fan. Got a great question, or that's a good one?
Unless you've got a better one that's full of some psychoanalysis.
Oh, I love that. Do I need to lie down on the couch?
That might help.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Do I have to tell you about my childhood or my neurotic association with the animals?
This is from Lodween.
Okay.
What personal flaw do you think has turned out to be an asset in this project? And is there something you thought would be an advantage that turned out to delay release?
Oh, doctor, I have to share this information with you. So, personal flaw that has helped this project. Stubbornness. I have been told over the decades that I can, when I have something that I really believe in, Be stubborn about it. Now, I don't think that's a flaw most of the time because I don't apply it to everything. I don't apply it, as guys here can tell you, usually to design. I'm always willing to listen. I am always willing to discuss something. But I am stubborn. And where other, people might have given up because of the delays or the money spent, I'm like, no, I believe in the team. I believe in Andrew. I believe we can do this. So, that certainly kept me and the company going. In terms of things that have slowed down release, yeah, absolutely. When we set out to do this Kickstarter, Doctor, I did some things that, said some things that certainly have made, what we're doing harder than it could have been. The ability system, for example. But I thought it'd be really cool to have. But that certainly has slowed things down. The body part targeting system. So, that probably slowed things down a little bit. On the other hand, if you look at, what we've already done with body part targeting and simplifying it, it shows that the first thing that you asked about a flaw that turned out to be an asset isn't a problem with design. And in terms of the ability system overall, while it absolutely has slowed us down, if it works out the way I hope it will, then we've built something that's going to keep you folks occupied, number crunching and playing around with things for a very long time, which is a good thing. So now that I've unburdened my soul and, did the psychoanalysis thing, I will say good afternoon. Thank you, as always, very much for your support. Thank you for your patience. We'll see you next week, hopefully, Visual Studio 2019 and perf regression permitting in tests. And so stay tuned. Same bat time, same black couch. Bye.
See you later.